What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nerd Talk. Today we're going to be discussing Batgirl and its cancellation. Now, before y'all come at me, I know what y'all about to say. Man, you dead joke. You about 5 days late, brother. What's going on? First of all, I'm not late. I already knew what was going on. I just couldn't now make a video about it, but I digress. So according to the studios themselves, coming from the direct, quote, reflects their leadership's strategic shift, end quote. It was, quote, not a reflection of Leslie Grace's performance, end quote. Quote, the decision to not release Batgirl reflects our leadership's strategic shift as it relates to the DC Universe and HBO Max. Leslie Grace is an incredibly talented actor, and this decision is not a reflection of her performance. We are incredibly grateful to the filmmakers of Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Hunt, which I did not know was a thing, and their respective cast, and we hope to collaborate with everyone again in the near future, end quote. Variety noted that the studio felt the movie was, quote, neither big enough to feel worthy of a major theatrical release, nor small enough to make economic sense. Quote, and I'm just going to skip real quick. Spending the money to expand the scope of Batgirl for theaters, plus the $30 million to $50 million needed to market it domestically, and the tens of millions more needed for a global rollout, could have nearly doubled spending on the film. And insiders say that it was a non-starter at a company newly focused on belt tightening and the bottom line. What I'm gathering from this, or lack thereof, is it wasn't necessarily the quality of the film. Even though, I mean, I did read articles that stated that test screenings weren't exactly positive. We've had that happen before, test screenings not be positive and the movie still roll out. But it sucks to see Batgirl get the axe, because I was one of the few. I hope that there were more of us, but I was one of the people who was excited to see Batgirl. But the movie apparently was going to feature Michael Keaton's Batman. They actually just released a set photo of Michael Keaton's Batman. So let's now go into theories as to, you know, what's the future of DC. So with Batgirl getting canceled, there's a lot of paranoia amongst fans like myself on what could potentially get axed next. James Gunn came out officially and did state that Peacemaker season 2 was moving forward. But what about the Penguin HBO Max show? What about the Batman sequel? And what about the Batman third movie? What about Joker 2? All of these so far, you know, we haven't, at least to my knowledge, and if there are articles mentioning if these shows or movies are going to get canceled, please let me know. But are these movies and shows going to get axed as well? These are questions that we don't necessarily have answers to, and questions that I'm hoping that we get updates on come this year, later this year with DC Fandom. I'm really hoping again that we get updates at DC Fandom. Now, a lot of people are also having questions about The Flash. The Flash is going to be moving forward with Ezra Miller, set to release next year, but a lot of people are wondering, well, why did Batgirl get the axe? Why didn't The Flash get the axe, considering what's going on with Ezra Miller? I have a theory, and we're going to talk about this theory, okay? And again, you guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. In the comic book world, there was an event called Flashpoint, in which the Flash, Barry Allen, ran back in time, saved his mother, but in doing so changed a crap ton of events. New characters got new origins, and Aquaman and Wonder Woman were at war with each other, but it essentially shaped New 52. Eventually was the introduction to New 52. Big boss at DC or Discovery or Warner Bros. After the merger, Warner Bros. And Discovery are merging, but the big boss has said that he wants to do a complete reset and employ a 10-year roadmap for the DC cinematic universe going forward. What better reason to do that than to use Flashpoint? Ergo, why I think Flashpoint or the Flash movie is still releasing. I don't think they're still releasing the movie based off of them thinking that it's going to create this huge following. What I think is they're using the movie as an easy way to reset their DC cinematic universe. There is a group of people that are both excited about that and very paranoid about that. The ones that are excited are like me. I'm kind of in the middle. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to see what this 10-year roadmap is going to be like. But on the other hand, I'm also scared because it's another 10 years before we can have anything that is like the MCU. Now, during this video, I will be making a lot of comparisons between the MCU and the DC Cinematic Universe because we're talking comic books, and realistically, those two companies kind of are running the cinematic universe game right now, the live action universe, I'll say. So even though DC doesn't really have a lot of connectivity, they still put out a lot of bangers. The Dark Knight Nolan trilogy, the Snyder Cut. Yes, the Snyder Cut was really good, okay? It was really, really good, and I loved it. BVS Ultimate Edition, Man of Steel, you know what I'm saying? The Michael Keaton 89 Batman. There's so many good movies. But the problem is that in itself as well with DC. DC, in my opinion, focused so much on Batman and Superman for the last 10 plus years, right? We've had Christopher Reeve, we've had Brandon Routh, we've had Dean Cain, we've had Henry Cavill. Batman, we've had Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Adam West. There's been so many of the same character. Now, Batman and Superman, they're obviously DC's moneymakers, right? But I wish that DC would have focused more on a unified storytelling and also focused on lesser known characters. Let's take a look at the MCU. The MCU started 10 plus years ago, but over that time up until now, they built their universe slowly but surely. And when you take your time with something and you take your time to perfect your craft and actually focus on a narrative driven story, the MCU is what you get. Now, did the MCU have some misses? Absolutely. Absolutely. But the pros far outweigh the cons with the MCU. They wouldn't be as popular if that weren't the case. DC, unfortunately, we got a lot of really, really, really good movies. But the problem was they were kind of one-offs. The Dark Knight trilogy wasn't connected with anything. Then you had the TV universe. The TV universe, we didn't get any kind of connectivity until the Crisis crossover, right? But they cross over with themselves plenty of times. But as far as crossing over with the movie verse, we didn't get that until Crisis, when the Ezra Miller Flash met the Grant Gustin Flash. But that's also a problem because, the argument can be made that the Nolan trilogy, the Adam West, all these properties and TV shows and movies exist under the multiverse, which is 100% true. That was proven in Crisis. Why didn't they capitalize on the multiverse aspect? Marvel is doing it currently. They're doing the multiverse. We had the Infinity Saga, and now they're officially announced the Multiverse Saga. Why didn't DC capitalize on their multiverse aspect, especially when they had the rights to all their characters? And that is another thing that bothers me, is that, and I just pluck myself in the lip because I'm so passionate, that is another thing that bothers me, is that Marvel didn't have the rights to all their characters, yet they built this universe. They didn't have the rights to Fantastic Four and X-Men that was owned by Fox. They didn't have the rights to Spider-Man, arguably a huge moneymaker for Marvel. He was owned by Sony. I'm also pretty sure they didn't own the rights to Hulk, but that did not stop them from doing what they had to do. They pulled themselves from the brink of bankruptcy and built this cinematic universe over time. And now it is 100+ hours of orgasmic content. I wish the DC Cinematic Universe would have did that. Now, before anybody comes at me calling me a Marvel fanboy, let me tell you something. Matter of fact, let me show you something. Y'all see right here? Right there, I got multiple Joker paintings, right? Joker pop figures. He's a DC character, right? And then right above me, right here, right? I have multiple Marvel pop figures. I have Marvel Hot Toys. I have more DC merchandise down here. And then on the right side of my man cave, I have a Deadpool shrine. I'm not a fanboy. I love DC comics, but I love the Marvel movies. I'm enjoying both. But that doesn't mean that I don't, or that doesn't mean that I don't have a need or a want, I guess you would say, for a more coherent and story-driven universe from DC, because they have so many amazing stories to tell. Court of Owls, The Killing Joke, Kingdom Come, so many different stories that they could tell, but they're not. They just keep rehashing the same thing over and over, telling us the same origin stories over and over. Now, currently, within the last several years, we have started to get more unknown characters. Well, I wouldn't say unknown, but characters that just aren't Batman and Superman. So we've got Shazam in the past several years. We've gotten Wonder Woman, 2 Wonder Woman movies, with a third one hopefully on the way. We got Ben Affleck coming back in Aquaman 2. Cyclone. We got Cyclone and Black Adam. We got Dr. Fate. We got Atom Smasher. We got a live action Hawkman. A new live action Hawkman. They're starting to focus on characters who are not the Man of Steel and the Caped Crusader. But again, the question is it too late? I hope not. I hope it's not too late. I hope that the Flash does well, even with the Ezra Miller controversy. And not the controversy, really. He did the shit. He did some bad shit. Even with that happening, the Flash succeeding means, in a way, a second chance for the DC Cinematic Universe. And why wouldn't I want that? You know, why wouldn't I want them to succeed? Because them succeeding means that we, as consumers, get good content. Okay? Going forward, DC, I beg of you, don't waste your chance with this reset. This is arguably the only chance you have to save yourself. The Flash is getting canceled next year. Batgirl got canceled. Okay, it's just, I don't know, man. I'm inclined to be a little hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I'm one of the few people, and by few people I mean there's a lot of us, but I'm one of the few people who really enjoyed the Snyder Cut. I watched the Snyder Cut to this day, all 4 hours. I've watched it 3 times already. They had something good. Regardless of how you feel about Snyder, he had a passion for what he was doing. That much is very clear. And the Snyder Cut did very well, and it went over well with consumers and subscribers of HBO Max. When you put your heart and soul into something, it shows. Now, another thing I think is that DC let the people who were saying, well, if DC is going to start from scratch and build up a universe. Now, mind you, this is from Man of Steel, was what I'm referring to back then. If they build up their own cinematic universe, they're going to be too much like Marvel. I think they let those type of people get in their heads. It's no way they don't read people's reactions to news that they announce. And I really believe in my soul that the people that were saying, well, they're going to be too much like Marvel if they do that, they let it get to them. And that's why they did how they did it. That's why they paced themselves how they paced themselves. That's why we got Man of Steel, but then right after Man of Steel, we got Batman v Superman. And that was, I think, 2 or 3 years later. We got BVS, right? The theatrical version wasn't a great movie. The Ultimate Edition was really good because there was a lot of questions that got answered, a lot of plot holes that got filled. But my point is, we got that team ensemble movie a little too quickly. We didn't even get a chance to really get to know any of these characters, really. And then by the time Justice League came out, you know, we were all of a sudden, the Flash was thrown in our face, and Cyborg was thrown in our face, and Aquaman was thrown in our face. It was just, I don't know, man. I want them to succeed. End of the day, I wish they just would have taken their time with their universe, not listened to the negative people, and just did what they had to do to give us something that we'll be able to remember for the rest of our lives. So, with that said, there's nothing else I can say. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please don't hesitate to drop a follow or drop a sub and like and share the video. If you will, please do so. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, Dejo Gaming. Please go check out my socials. Dejo Gaming 0548. That link should be in the description down below. If it's not, let me know. I gotta write a letter to somebody. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about the future of the DC Cinematic Universe. Were you excited for Batgirl? Were you not excited for Batgirl? Let me know why, regardless of your opinion. I love to talk to you guys. Have a good one, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.